Hi, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Car Reviews podcast here on CollectorCarCanada.CA. Don't forget, we also have the Collector Car Stories podcast, and every week we talk to an enthusiast about their car or an adventure they've had with a car, or just some fun stories about cars and the people who drive them. Right now, we have the first episode of following a couple of guys who did a road trip from Ancaster, Ontario, all the way up to the Arctic Ocean. So do take a look at that. Again, Collector Car Stories to supplement these car reviews podcasts. So today we have a 2002 Porsche 911 Targa. So this is the 996 series. And you see lots of cabriolets, you see lots of coupes. You don't see as many Targas. So we'll show you the Targa roof on this. It's a 6-speed manual. So I'm going to climb into it. We'll start it up, have a listen to the engine, have a little listen to the exhaust, and then take a closer look at it. So here we go. Porsche experts, Porsche followers will expect me to be starting the car with my left hand. Every 911 has the key on the left side for left-hand drive cars. And this is an old racing tradition where racers started outside of the car and they needed their right hand for the shifter. So it made more sense to start the car with their left. So away we go. I'll give it a crank. Let's listen to it start. So nice easy start. Make sure it's in neutral. I've got the handbrake engaged. So right to my left here, there are 3 releases. One is for the front trunk. One is for the hatch, so the rear glass goes up, which is a Targa only item, certainly on these 996s. And then the rear one, you'll hear a click. That's the engine cover. So here we are standing up at the cockpit, working our way back. I've already released that engine cover, as you saw. The rattle you hear is a cat that's just vibrating. I didn't even hear it when we went for our drive with the driving videos. So when the engine's warm, I don't think you hear it. Here's a good look at the 3.6 liter flat 6 engine, just like any 911. It's running a flat 6. And this is, as I say, a 3.6 liter, good for 320 horsepower. Now, the 2002 is the first year of the .2. So the 996.1 went from 98 to 01. And then the 996.2 was from 02. And in the case of the normally aspirated cars, to 04. The turbo lasted till 05. So let's get a look, listen to that engine, get close to the belts. And now we've got exhaust, dual exhaust on either side. We're going to listen to those. Okay, so working away from that exhaust. That's our look at the engine. I'm going to close the engine cover now. And Targa, you see lots of 996s, but not so many with the Targa. They're all labeled with this emblem on the engine cover. Just while I'm thinking of it, this spoiler is power operated, and if it's left alone, it comes up at 120 kilometers an hour. But if it's and comes down at when the car gets back down to 60. But it's also operable from the cabin. So there's a look at the power button where we operate it. So I'll give you a look at the car with it in I'll show you it operating, and we'll get a good look at the car with it up. So you see it coming up there. I don't think I need the engine running now, so I'm going to shut that off. So we'll do maybe we'll go around the car with the spoiler up to give you a sense of what that looks like. Certainly on our detailed listing for lot 210, you're going to see plenty of photos with the spoiler up and with the spoiler down. I haven't counted them up yet, but I wouldn't be surprised if we took 150 or 200 photos of this car. But just to give you a sense of the look with the spoiler up. And for the rest of the video, I'm going to shoot it with the spoiler down. So I need to turn that key to the on position to get it back, get some power to that spoiler. So I turn that to on without starting it. Back to this button down here. And I'll try and shoot the spoiler action as it's going down. So I can't really see it, but I think by now it's probably gone back down to rest. So, as I say, 996.2, 2002 Porsche 911 Targa with a 6-speed manual transmission. It's finished in Lappy blue with a gray leather interior. So here's another change for the 996.2. With the 996.1, they were more the headlights directly borrowed from the Porsche GT1 race car, whereas these headlights mimic the 996 turbos. So you'll see these headlights on turbos and 996.2. And then here is the Porsche badge. Another interesting thing about these headlights is they are distinguished from the Boxster of the day. So the 986 Boxster, which was the first generation of Boxster, they also had the headlights the same as the Porsche GT1 race car. So working our way around, we've got a Porsche set of OEM wheels. They're an 18-inch. In front, they are 225, the tires anyway, are 225/40 18, and they're a Continental Extreme Contact Y-rated, and you can see the date code there. These ones are 2020, manufactured right at the end of 2020. We've also got a sense of the mileage these tires have done on our detailed listing. And then going back to the rear, a matching OEM wheel, and it's 285 in the rear here. I think it's 285/30 18, if I can find that measurement. Here it is. Yeah, I got it right. 285/30 18 in the rear, 225/40 18 in the front. So I did have that right. So the wheels, I wish they were cleaner for our video. They're not that clean, but taking a close look at them, there's one wheel up here in the front right. So a matching set of OEM wheels. But this front right wheel, we've got some close-ups on the detailed listing. It does show some curb marks. The wheel over here on the front driver's side, I think is free of any marks. And then both of the rear wheels, they haven't hit the curbs, but there's some lamination peeling away from here. So they could probably be used to be recoated, I guess I'd say. They don't need refinishing. That front right one, I suppose if you wanted a perfect looking car, you want to refinish that. But again, same with this other rear wheel. There's a bit of delamination right on the edge of the wheels. So back to where we were at the front. Matching set of OEM mirrors in the color of the car. Here's a good look at the Targa roof. I'm not going to open it for the video, but we do have both photos and videos of it open and closed in our detailed listing for lot 210. As well, there's a sunshade in case you're worried about boiling or baking in those front seats. There's a sunshade to protect the occupants. Right now the sunshade is open, but the Targa glass roof is closed. It's a power mechanism to operate both the Targa roof and the sunshade, which is nice. One touch button in the center console there. But when it's open, this Targa roof slides underneath the rear glass here. So you can still see through the glass, no problem at all. You just have to be looking through 2 panes instead of 1. And while I'm thinking of it, this is one of the very few 911s where the rear glass opens. So there's a button here, the cockpit. In error, I first open the engine cover, so I'm going to close that, and it's closed. And then this rear glass will open up, making it just a little more usable. Certainly, we've got the front seats in place for passengers, but with those front seats stowed, you can even get a couple of sets of golf clubs. You can't get your whole foursome and their clubs in, but if you're willing to meet 2 people and their clubs at the course, this will do for 2 golfers and 2 sets of clubs. So that's got a power closing mechanism. I probably slammed it a little hard there. I didn't need to do that because the car itself makes sure the glass is shut. So I was taking a good look at the gaps earlier on this car. Our detailed listing shows them. I see a nice consistent gap all the way around, even at the opening for the spoiler here. So that was nice to see. These tail lights have not been updated from the 996.1. So it's tough to figure a 996.1 Cooper Cabriolet from a 996.2 Cooper Cabriolet. Third brake light and a rear wiper on the Targa as well. Working our way for, I showed you the pipes, I guess, when we were listening to them, but there's another good look at those aluminum tipped exits. Lapis blue, again, is the Porsche color for this car. And as we work our way forward, Porsche aficionados will probably know that the fuel goes in the front, different from the engine in the rear. Sort of the opposite. It's just like a front engine car. Usually the fuel tank's in the rear. But yeah, in this car, the fuel tank is in the front. There's a parking light with the clear lens. Again, the 996 turbo look headlight. And there is a tiny bit of stone chipping, I guess, if I look really closely at the front end of this car. But really, a pretty clean look. Pretty clean look to this car. So as we go over, we'll take a look at the inside of the car. Again, lot 210 on CollectorCarCanada.CA. You see this in Porsches. It's a good use of space. There's a little pocket for storage there in the door, and you see one on the other side as well. I like the door sill labeled in Targa. And here are the 3 buttons I was talking about. Release the front trunk, release the rear glass, and release the engine cover. And then we've got seat memory on this car as well. So you set that with those buttons. Since we did our photos, we popped this winter mat back in. So it's not the most presentable, easily cleaned, but the 2 front winter mats do stay with the car. The car has not been driven in the winter, but in case you're worried about protecting your carpets, the mats are available. So again, I was talking about that spoiler button. It's here. And then this item here, that's to release the front trunk in case of a battery failure, because the battery's up there and it's a motorized opening. So that's your fail safe in case you have no battery and you got to get back at that front trunk. So climbing into the cockpit here, you can see the odometer under 145,000 kilometers. So this one's going to its new owner at under 145. Nice instrumentation. And we see the measure on the analog speedometer is miles per hour. So it's important to note that this car is a US market car, but you can see the digital speedometer down below in orange, and that has a kilometers per hour reading. So no real problem to drive this car with in Canada, given that even though the speedometer analog is in miles, you've got your kilometers an hour reading right there. Up here, those two knobs on the left is to reset your trip odometer. On the right is to set the clock, which is an ingeniously simple way to set a clock for a car. You can see the digital clock. I'd say it's working. My watch says 2:05 right now, so I think the owner of this car just likes to be early for everything. Fuel gauge, water temperature gauge, and then oil pressure measured in bar, like most German cars. So the central tack, of course. Then over to the left, there's also a voltmeter. So moving forward here, so to the center stack, this car has factory navigation. It's an O2, so navigation is a big technological breakthrough. But as you see down here, it's run with CDs or DVDs. So you need the DVDs. You need to load the DVD for your destination. There's even a tape deck here. I'll try to remember that when I show you the front trunk, but there's also a 6-disc Porsche CD changer. Over here is the automatic climate control. We gave the AC a little run earlier. It was blowing cold. And then at the bottom, these buttons, we've got heated seats on either end. And in the center are the two for the Targa roof. So on the left is for the glass itself, and on the right is for the sunshade. Again, you can take a look at those in action on our detailed listing, both with still photos as well as video showing them actually in motion. And we've got a glove box. That's another difference from a 996.1. The 996.2s are equipped with a glove box. In the .1, there was a little shelf under here where the owner's manual would be stowed. And then another look at the passenger door. You can see an airbag badge on the bottom right of the screen right now in chrome. There's also that storage area for the passenger side. And I didn't realize this until we're shooting the video, but this car is equipped with full leather. So leather dash cover, leather on the door cards here as well, in addition to the gray leather seats. So a nice touch. I'll show you that seat. This is just a little cushion for when a smaller in stature person is riding in the front. So climbing out, we'll take a quick look at the rear seat. Now, when people ask me about these cars we have on auction, I often like to tell them the lowest common denominator, I'll call it. So the weakest point for the car. I think the weakest point for this car is there some splits in the seam there on that rear seat. It's kind of a messy floor mat down there, but that's easily remedied. But I would suggest, though, that if I were buying this car, I'm probably not going to be putting too many rear passengers in it. And I would just keep the seat folded down, probably. Now, I've got the front seat pushed back all the way for myself. But the rear seats are usable for smaller in stature persons, as well as in a pinch, you can put an adult back there. But yeah, there's a look at the speaker in the rear. Again, the original Porsche head unit is in place, supplemented by that navigation. And like I was showing when the rear glass was open, that parcel shelf is covered in the same carpet as the rest of the interior. Now, you'll hear a click right now. I'll show you a bit of the front trunk, but I do happen to know the owner's got a lot of personal effects up there, so I might not show you the whole thing, just for discretion's sake. But opening this front trunk is a lot like opening the hood of a front-engine car. Car isn't being used much by the owner. He estimates he's driven it maybe 1,000 kilometers this year. So he's got his trickle charger connected. So when he gets home, he just clicks it or sort of plugs it in, and away he goes. Nothing too incriminating there. You can see that the front trunk is very deep, if not a deep sort of in height, if not deep in terms of width. This here is a spare tire. You don't need a compressor for this tire. It is inflated, if though it's very narrow. That's for short trips only, certainly. And then under here, where you see that trickle charger cable heading, as you might guess, is the battery. And I don't know if I'm going to be able to release that with one hand, but I'll show you the side of it. I know there's a Napa Legend battery in place in this car. So there's a look at the battery. So, yeah. Good look at the front trunk. Oh, I think at the bottom of this is the tool roll for the car. So I wanted to show you that as well. Tools for the car. For changing a spare as well as a tool in there as well. So yeah, I'll take another walk around it, but that gives you a good look at this 2002 Porsche 911 Targa 6-speed manual, and it's a 911 in the 996 series. This car was here where we are today before our Cars and Coffee event, so there's his dash card. We had a good time with that today. Working our way around, I noticed also that all of the glass is labeled Secure It, which tells me it's likely the original glass, but if any glass has been replaced, it's been replaced with the OEM Secure It. There's even a Secure It logo here. I don't know if the video picks it up, but we do have a photo of it as well. But on the exterior, a pretty nice clean car here in the lapis blue metallic over the gray full leather. So I'll wrap up this part and I'll jump back into the driver's seat and we'll have a few concluding thoughts. All right, so welcome back. I figure while I'm sitting here, I can give you a demo of the Targa roof opening. Now, I doubt you're gonna see the actual glass moving, but you can probably see that the lighting, certainly where I'm sitting, has changed. So, works beautifully. I'm gonna turn that ignition key off so as not to drain the battery. But yeah, just in conclusion, we've got a 2002 Porsche 911 Targa with a 6-speed manual. It's under 145,000 kilometers as lot 210 on CollectorCarCanada.CA. Please take a look at our detailed listing where you'll find paragraph form description. You'll find this podcast video as well, the car review, as well as other videos demonstrating the car and a whole host of photos. I haven't counted them up, but I'd be surprised if it's not 200 photos. And of course, we've got a Carfax for your peace of mind as well. US car, under 145,000 kilometers, not miles. Again, CollectorCarCanada.CA, lot 210. Please check it out and good luck. Thanks for watching.